Hi, in this video we are just going to talk about how you can become a full stack developer. Even if you are a beginner and if you don't know anything at all about full stack development, then how you can get started and how you can become a fully fledged full stack web developer who can build and ship a product from scratch. So our goal is to build a full stack project, and now to achieve this goal, we have to learn a lot of technologies and it will take you a lot of time to learn all these skills. It's not like that I will give you a shortcut or I will give you a roadmap that you can follow and you can just learn it in a few days. It doesn't work like that. You have to become a lifetime learner if you want to become a full stack developer. And that's the number one rule. You are a lifelong learner and you have to keep learning new things that comes around every day. Like as you can see in the present time, a lot of AI things are coming. Then you have to pick up those things if you want to stay relevant in the current market. But if you are afraid of not picking up the technologies which are coming along, then you should stay away from it, because you have to keep upskilling always. That's the number one rule to become a full stack developer. Now let's talk about how you can become a full stack developer from zero if you don't know anything at all. Okay, so first you have to learn HTML, CSS and JavaScript. These are basic steps and these are must you have to do when you begin your journey into this development world. If you want to become a web developer, and even if you want to become a app developer, I would highly recommend you to pick HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Now you have learned enough HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Let's say you have played around 15 or 20 days. Now you have learned enough HTML, CSS, so you can design basic website. You can build basic websites like some landing pages, some interactivity like how button is clicked and what function is calling, and you can now build enough functionalities so that you can build a simple website. Start with some basic clones, the website you always use like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, WhatsApp. Build the UI of these websites using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Play around with it, build some smaller project. Now you have learned HTML, CSS and JavaScript and now you want to explore more. Now is the time to pick up your sector. If you want to choose app development, then there is another thing. If you want to choose web development, then there is another process or another roadmap. If you want to pick up some another thing like game development or any other development, so I won't say anything about it, but I can talk about app development and web development, both of these fields. So now let's first pick up web development. Now you have learned JavaScript, so it's best to learn a front-end framework. Why? Because you always need a front-end for your application. Even you are building a mobile application, then you need a mobile UI or a application which user can download and then they can use it. Otherwise, if you are building a website, then it's good to go with a web application and you need to build a UI, user interface, so that user can interact with your data and then you can modify your data and play it around. So now you have picked up a front-end framework. So pick any framework of your choice. What I have picked a few years ago was Next.js and it was great. Learn React first, but there are few things that Next.js can do but React can't, and Next.js is pretty much a full stack framework, so it will give you a nice benefit of going into full stack development easily than React. But I would highly recommend you to first pick up basic React, then pick up Next.js. Let's think it like that. So now you have learned HTML, CSS and JavaScript. You have a few choices. Like you can pick up React, you can pick up Svelte.js, you can pick up Vue.js. Okay, so I would highly recommend you to pick up React because it is used in many companies and it is in highly demand. So now you have learned how to use states, how to use some hooks like use effect, how to fetch API and how to show data, and that's enough. And now you can build a simple to-do application with React. Now you can build a simple landing page with React and add some interactive to it. Now it's good to go further. So let's jump into now Next.js. Pick up Next.js and build full stack web applications with it. So now Next.js has two things. Next.js has previous version where we all have used pages directory, and inside pages directory it was the whole another thinking of how we are building the web application. Now React has also improved a lot. Now server components are coming and a lot of cool things are happening in the React ecosystem. So first I will suggest you to learn pages directory and how it works. So you can watch all my tutorials on my this Club of Coders YouTube channel and you will find a lot of resources to learn, free available. You can build e-commerce web application with it, you can build Instagram clones, you can build a lot of other things also, which I have posted here. So now you have learned React and after that you have learned Next.js also. Next.js provides us a API directory in which we can define our API routes. What is API? It is just a method to interacting with your server. So traditionally we have servers, we are running a server. Server is just a machine on the internet somewhere in the world running a instance for us, a computer for us, or a machine for us, and that is handling all our requests. We have a UI, we do something with our website, like click a button. Now our button will do something. After clicking a button, some JavaScript will run. So after JavaScript will run, JavaScript will call an API. So now the request will come at server, and now server will do some magic. Server will do some computation, and now let's assume you have sent some data from your front end. Let's say you want to save your name inside a database. So now request will take your data, take it to the server, and will save it into the database. It will return that it has successfully done all the operations you want to do with this request. And it will return a status code. Status code means it will return that you have now successfully done all the things you want to do, and everything is good. And now we will show something on the front end, so it is full stack. Okay, so I hope you understood what is full stack is. Full stack is just you are clicking some buttons, you are doing something on your front end and sending some request to your server, and server will doing something with database. Server will handling all the computation, all the complex stuff, and it is sending some simple data which can be easily understood by browsers, and browsers are showing them in a beautiful manner, which you can see on the front end, which you can see on the UI as a website or as a application. So on the mobile application part, this is the simple concept. You have built a mobile application, and now mobile application is sending the same thing, like sending the request to server, and server will send a response, and then your UI will change and all things happen like the same way. But we have to just pick up some different things to build mobile application, and we have to pick up some different things for building web applications. So this is a simple overview of how a full stack web application or full stack mobile application works. So in the Next.js, we don't have to handle the server for ourselves. It provides us something called an API routes directory, in which we can directly define our API routes like server code, and this server code will interact to our database. Now we can do all the things, all the computation in those API routes. Okay, so this is the thing in the Next.js. But if you don't want to use Next.js, if you want to use plain React, then you have to manually set up your server. You can set up an Express.js server, you can set up a Python server, Fastify server, you can set up a Django server. So you can do a lot of things. You can also pick up Node.js frameworks like Nest.js. You can also do AWS stuff. You can also run serverless functions on Google Cloud. You can also run serverless functions on AWS like Lambda using Google Cloud Run and all that complex stuff. But I don't want you to get into this stuff for now. So now this is the roadmap. You have learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then you have learned React, and now you are into full stack with using Next.js. Now you have learned Next.js, and now you can do some simple tasks such as building a to-do list with saving the data inside your database, fetching the data, which are your to-dos, and showing on the UI. Now you have built this thing. Now you are good to go to building advanced project. So to build advanced project, you need some highly scalable backend, which you can't build yourself at that moment because you are not that skilled. So to build highly scalable mobile applications or websites, you can pick up a backend as a service. What is backend as a service? It provides us a lot of libraries so that we can use them to make our life easier. Let me give you some examples of backend as a service, which are Firebase, Supabase, AppWrite, and you can pick up CMS also like Strapi CMS or some kind of CMS. So let's pick up Firebase for now. Now you can add authentication to your application using Firebase. You can save data inside Firestore database, which is a highly scalable database. You can now add real-time data to your application, and if you are not using Firebase, then it will be a complex task to handle all these scalabilities issue, all these real-time issues, all these securities inside your application, and these all things will be handled by these backend as a service providers. So let's assume you have now built something with it. Now you know React and Next.js, and now you also know backend as a service like Supabase, Firebase, and now you can combine both of these technologies, and now you can build highly scalable mobile applications and web applications easily. I have 2 tutorials freely available on this YouTube channel, which are Instagram clone and e-commerce website, which you can follow along and build website which are highly scalable and production ready. Now you have learned all these things, but you are still not production ready. Now you have to learn TypeScript to make your developer experience better. Now you have to learn some advanced topics such as AWS. Okay, so if you want to handle uploading files, if you want to handle video uploading, if you want to handle other computations as well, if you want to handle APIs, if you want to use external APIs inside your applications so that you can leverage other applications code inside your applications. Now you have to use some other APIs. What API means, I have already explained you. API is the method. API is like a medium to send some data from your front end to the back end, and now you can do all that kind of stuff. Okay, so you need some connection between your front end and back end, and that's where API comes into the picture. Now I think you have understood everything, and now you need to go into some production ready stuff. Now you can pick up a framework, because picking up a framework is always a good idea instead of a simple plain thing. Like if you want to build a server, a whole server using Node.js and Express, then it will be a lot of hard work. Instead, you can choose Nest.js plus TypeScript to build a highly scalable Node.js server. It will handle a lot of complexities for you instead of doing it all manually, because there is some work done by expert engineers and they have put it free on the web so that we can use it and we can leverage it. That's why we are using latest and greatest stuff, so that we can leverage these technologies and we can build the solutions we want instead of focusing on tech stack and tech stuff. Now we have learned how to use these backend as a service. Now you can continue your journey to building servers for yourself. You can now pick up any backend framework. You can now pick up Fast API, and you can pick up Django, you can pick up Node.js framework like Nest.js, Express or something, and you can build servers for yourself. Now you have learned servers, you can go and you can learn cloud. Okay, so you at any point, if you are building something, then you have to host it on the web so anybody can use it on the internet. That's the whole point. You now can host your website. So to host your website, you have to learn some cloud providers. And now it is very easy to host your web applications. A lot of SaaS applications are there which will make your life easier. But if you want to do it yourself, then you have to learn AWS, you have to learn Google Cloud for yourself. It will take a lot of time, but you can choose which services are the most that are needed. Like let's talk about AWS. You can pick up S3 to upload files and do all the things. You can learn EC2 instances, how to spin up your server, your own server. You can learn how to spin up a database on AWS, how to use Lambdas to build APIs, serverless APIs, so that you don't have to worry about servers anymore. You can learn Google Cloud Run. You can learn how to host serverless containers on the internet. Now let's talk about what is serverless containers. Serverless containers are something like you assume you have built a whole server and now you can containerize it and you can host it on anywhere. So then Docker comes into the picture. When you want to run some services, when you want to run a server which is running on your machine and you want to run this server on another machine in the exact same configuration, then you can use Docker. And then you can run it on AWS, you can run it on Google Cloud, you can run it anywhere you want. It's like of DevOps stuff. I don't want you to get into this because there are a lot of things I have already discussed in this video, like picking up front-end framework, then picking up a backend as a service to build a scalable application, then building your own servers, then hosting your own servers using these cloud providers, learning the only technologies which you need. There are hundreds of services which are provided by AWS and Google Clouds, and that can make you confused. We don't want to make our life harder by using these things. That's why you have to only learn those things that are needed for you at this point. Now you have learned how to host a web application. Now you have become a full stack web developer who can build a website from scratch and then can host it so that everybody can use it on the internet. So this is all about web application. Now if you want to build mobile application, there are some things which you can consider. If you want to pick up iOS roadmap, if you want to pick up Android roadmap, if you want to pick up roadmap which includes both. So now if you have learned web development, it is a great choice to pick up some framework so that you can build both applications into one code base. You can use Flutter, you can use React Native. Okay, so these are both frameworks which help you build both environment mobile applications by using one code base. I am a fan of React Native and I will recommend you React Native because I have recommended you React previously. Now you can learn React Native and you can build fully stack mobile applications and using a JavaScript framework which is React Native and a backend as a service, and now you can build fully stack mobile applications easily. If you want to know another backend as a service which is AWS Amplify, it is by AWS and it is also great. It's like Firebase, AWS Amplify and Supabase. These three are great choice if you want to pick up a backend as a service. So now you can build a mobile application also. Now let's come to the part if you want to build a macOS application or a Windows application. Then you can choose Electron.js. A lot of cool Windows applications and a lot of cool macOS applications are built using Electron.js. So now we have talked about a lot of things. We have talked about how you can build a website, a web application, how you can build a mobile application, and how you can build a macOS or Windows application, or we can say a desktop application. So this is how you can become a full stack web developer who can build and ship a product from scratch. That's all the things which I want to talk in this video. I have a few courses on this YouTube channel which you can watch for freely. I have also a paid course which you can find in the description link. It is a great course if you want to build production ready web applications faster. It is a new kind of tech stack which helps you bind your client and server into one code base and make your life very easier to build full stack web applications with Next.js. Okay, so that's all about this video, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in another video.